Australia. We're one of the most wasteful countries in the developed world. As a nation, we throw out $8 billion worth of edible food every year. So how did it come to this? Back in the 60s, we pioneered recycling programs.
The plea has gone out to all Australians. Recycling is in.
And launched campaigns to keep Australia beautiful.
January the 21st, 1989, has been proclaimed Clean Up Australia Day.
But now, the waste we generate is growing at twice the rate of our population.
We're burying rubbish in a hole, and it's a resource.
Last time, I challenged a street of everyday Aussies.
Can I steal your bin?
Sure. To reduce the staggering amount of waste we're producing at home.
The average family throws out over $3,500 worth of food a year.
And confronted the major supermarkets about their wasteful food standards.
I think there's a lot of those bananas there that really should be on your kind of A-grade pile.
Now it's time to dive into Australia's sea of plastic waste.
I saw about 5 fish and a lot more rubbish.
Chase down our leading politicians.
Mike, wait for me. You're the Environment Minister. You want to sort this out?
To demand a national ban of plastic bags.
I've got a child, be careful.
You got a child?
I've got a child.
You got a child, you want to protect that child's future.
And dig up worrying results about plastic bag recycling.
This is not what people who put their bags in those bins would expect. I want to find out why we've become such a throwaway society. And more importantly, what can we do about it? It's time to start a war on waste.
These days, so many of the things we buy and most of the food we eat is wrapped in some form of plastic packaging, only to be put in even more plastic when we take it home. Globally, this has created an enormous waste problem. Buried in landfill, plastic may take centuries, if not millennia, to degrade. And a shocking 8 million tonnes of it leak into the ocean every year, killing marine life around the world. In Australia, we seem to be hooked on plastic bags. Last time, when I separated 10 Aussie households' rubbish bins,
Bags, 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 bags.
I found one of the biggest parts of their trash was plastic bags.
What surprises you?
This amount of plastic bags.
Plastic. They're already banned in other countries, but we're still using 5 billion plastic bags a year. That's more than 10 million a day. I mean, it's crazy. So what's happening here? Where did we go so wrong?
So far, only South Australia, Tasmania, the ACT and the Northern Territory have banned lightweight shopping bags, with Queensland to follow in 2018. But New South Wales, Victoria and Western Australia have done nothing about the problem. That's over half of our population.
I'm going to get the ball rolling right here in Victoria. Where my first target is Victorian Premier Daniel Andrews. Is this a back door to Parliament?
Oh, it could be.
For many years, Victoria has dodged any attempt to bring in a plastic bag ban, so hopefully you can't dodge this subtle reminder that it's about time. Why are there stairs? G'day, just got a gift for the Premier.
You need to take the gifts through the mail room, the back door.
The mail room.
I don't think you're going to be able to fit it through any of the doors.
That's a double door. I reckon I can get through there. Do you want to bet me $10 I can fit it through that door?
It won't be going through the building. It can't be screened. We don't know what's in there.
I'm going to get this down the stairs.
It might cause a bit of a traffic hazard.
Word's got out that I'm here, and the Premier snuck in the side door.
Premier, wait for me.
Damn it, missed him. But here's Lily D'Ambrosio.
You're the Environment Minister. You want to sort this out?
seems Treasurer Tim Pallas is the only one here actually talking to the public today. Maybe he'll agree to a plastic bag ban.
Treasurer, just a quick question.
go.
I've got an idea for you.
Yes?
An idea that's going to cost you nothing, a plastic bag ban here in Victoria. What about that? Do you support that idea?
Well, it's really
It's
a
free.
matter that you should talk to the Environment Minister about.
Well, we tried to, but can you pass on? We tried to talk to the Premier as well about it. Unfortunately, he went in the side door to avoid us. Can I give you something to give him? It's a little ball to remind you.
I'm always willing to take presents.
You wait here while I get it for you?
Yeah, we'll go on.
Yeah, OK, you wait there. I'll get it for you.
Mr. Pallas, be prepared for this, okay? Be prepared.
Here you go. If you just give this to Daniel Andrews, just a reminder until you guys bring in a plastic bag ban, because it's a significant risk to the environment, right? There's no ban in this state, so you're one of the few states that doesn't have it.
There's no argument that these finding their way into our waterways is a blight on the environment. It's about making sure that we get the right policies.
So you want to take this to the Premier?
Could you simply take my word for it that I'll give him a graphic explanation of what you've provided?
I think you should take this. I reckon that sitting next to his table will be a great reminder.
I would struggle getting this inside.
All right, I consider it passed on. All right, and his ball.
I'm not going to give up, and you shouldn't either. If you want Victoria to ban the bag, email the Premier and hit him up on his Facebook page. Alongside Victoria, WA and New South Wales are also failing to deal with the plastic bag problem. So I'm going to try and find another Premier and ask them why. A week ago, I challenged 10 families who are neighbours in this suburban street to live as waste-free as they can. They've agreed to take part in a month-long experiment to reduce the amount of waste they send to landfill. Now it's time to tackle the street's recycling skills. On their community Facebook site, there's a lot of confusion about what can and can't be recycled.
There are probably things we haven't been recycling that we could have been recycling, and that bothers me.
One thing that I would like to know about recycling is, can we recycle these?
Dairy containers.
And the dog food tins.
The dog food tins, the dog poo.
Oh, yeah.
Today, environmentalist Tim Silverwood joins me to answer some of these tricky recycling questions. Tim has devoted the past 10 years to raising awareness about plastic waste on our beaches and started the Plastic Bag Free New South Wales campaign.
The thing to remember is it's very confusing because every council area, every local government area is quite different. There's no standardised rules across Australia.
It would be great if every council could have the same rules across the country, because then you could actually have a proper kind of education campaign.
And at the core of that problem is different companies service the waste in different areas.
Yeah.
So those companies that collect the waste, that recycle the waste, are going to have different rules.
Tim and I have set up a little challenge for the street. A table full of rubbish. The question, where does it go? Into the recycling or into the general bin?
Good.
We'll be watching from out here.
What a challenge.
First up, an item many of us are confused about. Aerosols.
Oh, God.
So, we've got the deodorant can.
I actually don't know.
I don't know either because I figure it might be a little bit dangerous to put.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, so I would put that to the side.
Definitely not recycling.
I think you can.
Yeah, but
Put it down. Don't know.
Aerosol is a tough one. This is one of the ones I find most confusing.
I think we just put it in the bin.
Bin,
That's what we have
we
been
would be doing.
This one's interesting. If it was a full container of a fly spray or a pesticide, then I'd certainly keep it for your household chemical clear-out.
Yeah.
But in this instance, the council message is it's recyclable.
Yeah, you can actually... It's one of the ones that surprised me. You think it's flammable, it's going to blow up your council truck. It's not. Recyclable.
Next, a plastic takeaway container.
Takeaway, definitely recyclable.
First one right.
It doesn't break or crack and it bounces back to shape, so it goes in there.
She likes the scrunch
She
test.
likes
This
the
is a
scrunch
good
test.
one.
It is good.
If it's rigid and it has a lid, generally that means it's recyclable.
Some plastic items are confusing because they have what looks like a recycling sign on the packaging.
It's got a thing on it.
And it also has the triangle on it.
It's
got that chasing arrow symbol, which makes you think it's recyclable. But in fact, that numbers 1 through 7, that's just the identification code for the type of plastic resin.
Different types of plastics are identified by a numbering system from 1 to 7 inside a triangle with chasing arrows. It looks like a recycling symbol, so when you see it, you may think it's recyclable, but that's not necessarily the case.
You squash it and it springs back to shape. It can be recycled.
So the scrunchiness is more important than what the number says.
Exactly right, and remembering it's different in every council area, unfortunately.
Soft drink bottle, they're recyclable. But
I still wonder about the lids, though.
And remember, the message here from the local council is if it's smaller than your fist and it's a lid, it's going to go in the general waste.
That goes in the recycling bin.
Lids come off. That's something I've been getting wrong for years.
Yeah, I would never have thought of that.
When you think about it, it does make it a lot more dense, so if it's going through the machinery, it might take up extra space. It may have some fluid left in it, which gives it a weight that it shouldn't be matched up with the material. So in this council area, they do encourage you to remove the lid.
Bottles and jars can then go into the recycling.
Ooh. Yeah, so those scraps would go to the dog.
Would go to the dog.
I would put the food in the bin.
And we'd recycle the box because it's not very dirty at all.
Yeah. You totally nailed that. You took the food out and put that into recycling. Well done. You big pass on the pizza front.
Light bulb, no idea.
You're the electrician.
OK, so we've got metal, plastic and glass. I'm going to say that's recyclable.
All right.
It's recycling. Wrong. The light bulb moment for you guys.
Light bulbs, they contain a lot of harmful chemicals, and so contact your council. They'll tell you where to take your light bulbs, batteries, e-waste, hazardous chemicals. They're a problem item.
A glass?
This is a glass.
That's recyclable?
Absolutely.
I'd have to find out about that one. I'm not so sure.
Bit of confusion here over the wine glass. Never seen an empty one before.
well, if it's normal glass, it'd be all right. But I think if it's crystal glass, I think that's got to go into the bin wrapped up.
And well done on this one. If it's a glass beverage container or a jar, that's fine to go in your recycling. But this one, it's a different type of glass, different melting point, so therefore it's going to end up contaminating the rest of the glass.
So is that all kind of domestic glasses you can't recycle, whereas packaging glasses you can recycle?
Packaging glass is fine, so jars and bottles. When you get into sort of the crockery space, tempered types of glass, window panes, keep them out.
Lastly, the plastic bags and other soft plastic packaging that made up a huge percentage of the residents' bins. In most councils, these don't belong in the recycling. But the residents have found a way to stop them ending up in landfill.
I think we can actually put soft plastics into the, soft plastics bag that we can take to the supermarket.
Shopping centre, yeah.
Correct, well done.
Now, that's something I've learnt through this challenge.
When we met and went through their bins, Robin was aware of soft plastic recycling, and it's just taken off like wildfire.
The entire street are now recycling their soft plastics. Chip packets, cling wrap, grey shopping bags, and returning them to their local supermarket. So there you have it. Recycling can be confusing, but if in doubt, check your local council website.
Christina, you were kind of concerned about whether or not the stuff that is in the recycling bin ends up actually being used. Is that still a concern?
It is a little, because we're happy to do the whole process of separating our waste, but it does take time and it takes effort. My concern is, does it really end up being made into something, being recycled, or does it just go into landfill after that?
Keep the faith and we'll try and answer your questions. Well done, guys.
Now that the soft plastic recycling has taken the street by storm, I have to find out if it actually works.
Hey guys, I'm off to the supermarket and I'm putting all of this soft plastic into recycling.
I dropped one GPS tracker in a Red Cycle bin at Coles. While they're not always well signposted, Red Cycle's a soft plastics recycling scheme based in Victoria. And you can find them in 530 Coles stores and 100 Woolworths stores across Australia. I also dropped a GPS in a Woolworths store, but this had a non-Red Cycle recycling bin, and I have no idea who's meant to recycle this. Both trackers have left the supermarkets in Brisbane CBD. The Coles tracker moved not far from its original location. I need to find out if this is a collection point for the bags. But first, there's something strange going on with the one I dropped off at Woolworths.
I'm on my way to a spot just outside of Ipswich in Queensland. The GPS that we put in the Woolworths recycled plastic bags went here a while ago and just seems to be sitting here. So I'm going to go and see what it is.
Woolworths claim on their collection bins that the plastic bags are sent to a recycling facility.
Tea tree bioenergy.
But I'm not sure that's what this place is.
So what the hell is this? So we're sitting right here, and the GPS is just in this block of kind of dug up ground. Let's see how far we can get. What's this place?
Tea tree.
Tea tree, what is it?
Dump.
A dump?
Yeah.
So apparently this place is a dump, a landfill site. I want to make sure that's right.
Hi, sorry, what's this place here?
It's a landfill.
A landfill? I can't dump stuff here, though.
No.
Okay.
No, it's only commercial people.
Oh. Thanks very much.
Okay.
So our plastic bags from Woolworths went to a tip. It's not a recycling plant. They're definitely not being recycled. And I think that this is not what people who put their bags in those bins would expect. This is a commercial tip.
I need to get to the bottom of what happened here. Maybe my tracker was discovered and thrown in the rubbish instead of the plastic bags. So I'm going to test it again.
We're back at the Woolworths in Brisbane City where we dropped our first GPS, and we've got another one here, and we're going to see where this one goes.
I'm also going to drop a second one at another Woolworths store in Brisbane and follow their movements over the next few weeks or months. Just like my waste-free residents, I've run into many people who are sceptical about what happens to our recycling once it leaves the curb. Where does it go? And does it really get recycled into new products? I've come to Sewers in Western Sydney, one of Australia's largest waste management companies, to find out. Brad Gray from Planet Ark is meeting me here. He's visited recycling plants like this one all over the country.
This is a MRF, which stands for Material Recovery Facility. And basically what it is, it's a sorting station. In Australia, we've gone for commingled recycling. So we try to put everything into one bin, send it to a facility like this, which then separates everything out.
So it makes it easier for us.
Makes it easy for us. They don't do this in every other country. In Japan, for example, they have 8 recycling bins in their home. We've realised that Australians are not going to do that, so we do the work for them.
So we're so lazy they have to have a MRF.
Exactly.
Okay. I've been surprised at how many people have come across who are quite sceptical about recycling. They're like, oh, I go to all this trouble sorting it, but it just ends up in landfill. Is that the case?
It's actually too expensive for a company to collect something in your recycling bin, take it to a plant like this, sort it out, and then take it to landfill. In every state except Queensland, there's a tax on putting something in landfill, which means that it's cheaper to recycle it than to landfill it. So it makes no economic sense to do that.
So in every state except Queensland, it's actually more economical to recycle than to send rubbish to landfill. John, the facility manager, is taking Brad and myself on a tour to see what happens to our recycling after it's been picked up.
Each truck carries around about 6 tonne. We basically get around about 130 tonne a day.
That 130 tonnes a day is the recycling from approximately 23,000 households. The separation process begins by loading the materials onto a conveyor belt. From there, everything goes into a giant rotating drum called a trommel.
The idea of the first primary trommel is to remove as much paper as we can. So what will happen is all your smaller containers, like your PET bottles, your glass bottles, aluminium cans, they'll fall through the trommel and the paper will continue on along the line. We do have a manual sorter up there to try and pick as much of that contamination out before it goes in the trommel. And we also have some sorters at the back end of the process to pick out in case...
It always seems like the hardest job. There's like stuff flying past you. You've got to figure it out.
I'm shocked to see what some people throw away in their recycling.
An esky. I mean, it's amazing the things that are here, like fans and eskies and
Pedals, posters. What stuff that's going in this bin will just go straight to landfill.
it's just like a whole massive cord here.
That could go on for a day.
Waves and waves of it.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't stop.
Who's throwing a squash racket in there? There's a couple of plastic bags there. What happens to them?
Plastic bags are a nightmare. Polystyrene's another contaminant that we don't want in the waste stream.
That must be so frustrating.
Yeah, look, but generally most people do the right thing and it's mostly recycled.
An optical sorter is separating the plastic from the rest of the recycling.
The machine here takes like an X-ray shot of the material as it comes through, and it detects what's plastic, it'll shoot up a jet of air.
So that's that little sound we're hearing. That's actually air.
That's jets of air.
And that, what, blows the plastic up there?
Yep, so it's separating the plastic away from all the metals and glass.
But again, our bad recycling efforts are causing problems.
Yeah, there's a bottle of water with water in it.
Yeah.
So if there's water in the bottle, the air can't pick it up and move it. So the bottle should always be empty, particularly plastic bottles.
So because of the weight of the water, it's not getting hit.
Can't get picked up.
After everything is sorted, about 8% of the material that comes through the plant goes to landfill, which isn't too bad when you consider the squash rackets and eskies. Glass, paper, plastic and metal are pressed into huge bales. They're now a valuable commodity that can be sold.
Where is this stuff going to go now?
So they go to a whole range of different places. So we use quite a lot of the glass here in Australia. So making new bottles or roads, for example. We use a fair amount of the aluminium. The plastics, #1, we'll probably use, and some are #2. The numbers 4, 5, 6 and 7 will probably all go overseas because we don't make stuff here for that. And with the paper and cardboard, we probably use about 50% of it here and 50% gets sent overseas like a commodity.
What's the most valuable out of all this?
Aluminium is going to be the most valuable by a long shot.
The selling price for a tonne of aluminium is about $1,200 around
$1,200 bucks?
Yeah.
Just hold that thought.
And there it goes.
Do we have roof racks? You got a truck spare?
The one thing they don't recycle here is soft plastics. 85% of our plastic bags and packaging ends up being dumped into landfill. Out of sight, out of mind. But is burying our rubbish in a hole really the best approach? Queensland is the only state in Australia where there's no levy to bury rubbish in landfill.
I'm just outside of Cairns in far north Queensland to meet with Dan Hannigan. About 6 years ago, he inherited a landfill site and was quite surprised by what he found. G'day.
Yeah, g'day.
Craig, how are you?
Yeah, Dan, nice to meet you, Craig.
Yeah, good to meet you. Show me around this palace.
Yeah, so this is waste in the tropics.
Yeah, wow.
Dan's family has owned Meadowfield Landfill for 3 generations. The site is 30 acres near the Barron River just outside of Cairns.
I'm just looking at all this plastic in here.
Oh, plastic's a nightmare.
Does it break down at all?
No, it takes a very long time. It's scary. Like we've done pilot test holes around the site.
Well, you've dug down?
Yeah, just to see what's happening with the waste and test calorie value and composition. And you can dig it up, and some of these areas we've dug up, there's been buried waste for 20 years, and you'll get a bit of plastic, you wipe it down, you'll give it a wash, and it will look
like it's just been thrown
like it's just been thrown away. At the end of the day, we're burying rubbish in a hole and not doing anything with it, and it's a resource.
Dan is trying to rescue recyclable materials from the waste that's dumped at his site.
You've got fencing wire.
Yeah, I mean, this can be recycled, can't it?
Could have been reused.
Yeah, true.
You know? So that's just aluminium.
So that's totally recyclable.
Totally recyclable.
Now, you're doing this and you're going to take this apart.
Yep.
If this was taken to another tip, would this also happen?
Buried.
Just be buried?
Yeah. Look, it doesn't make sense on the business model to pay people an award wage to stand here and pull this apart.
So you're just stupid?
Yes, basically. Yeah.
Okay, I understand, yeah.
Yeah, because I want to do something for the environment.
Yeah. You're crazy, man, yeah.
So, no, look, I have a business mind, but I definitely have a green heart. And the reality is, when you look at the rubbish, I'm compelled to at least try.
It's such a shock to see so many recyclable and reusable items here, just wasted. We all have the power to make a difference. Just like a little town in Tasmania that started the Ban the Bag movement. 10 years ago, local baker Ben Kearney inspired Coles Bay to be the first town in Australia to go plastic bag free.
Yeah, this is it.
This is where it all started?
That's where it all started. And we're just going to go and duck into the supermarket and see Sandra Kane, the owner. She was there right at the beginning.
How long did the transition take?
Oh, gosh, a day.
Yeah, it really
There was no choice for anyone. Like, that was it. There was from plastic bags or shopping bags to these and the paper bags. There was no choice.
How many plastic bags do you think this ban has saved over the years here?
Hundreds of thousands of people come to Coles Bay and the Freycinet Peninsula every year. And yeah, over the 13 years, I mean, gosh, it might be 1 million bags.
Yeah, it would be.
Yeah.
What they've achieved here in Coles Bay is really impressive. It's a good ban that's been going for many years, but obviously it's easier to achieve in a small community like this. So I'm interested to head to Hobart and see how the statewide ban is working.
Years after the success at Coles Bay, a statewide ban finally came into place in Tasmania in 2013. But only lightweight plastic bags are included. Now, at the major supermarkets, customers are charged 15 cents for a thicker plastic bag. So, are people reusing them?
Did you bring your own bags?
We did, yes.
Okay, because these are Woolworths bags,
Yes.
and you've just been to the Coles.
Well, this one's a Coles one.
So if I see somebody with plastic bags in the trolley, it doesn't necessarily mean they're not reusing them.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So did you pay for any plastic bags on this trip?
No.
No? Okay,
No.
you've done well. These ones are from Coles. You've just been to Coles. Did you...
They're not new.
Oh, these are old ones.
These are the recycled.
They're a bit wrinkly.
Yes.
Okay, so you didn't pay for any?
No.
I'm going to check your receipt and
Check
check...
my receipt by all means.
Yeah, she's all clear. We're just looking at the plastic bag ban here in Tassie. How's it working?
Yeah, good.
Yeah. Did you just buy those?
I did.
So what's it cost you? 15, 30, 45 cents?
Perfect.
Do you normally...
Have other ones, yes.
Yeah.
But didn't bring them today.
Yeah, sometimes we get caught out. We all get caught out.
But what's happening at other retailers? To my surprise, at this store in central Hobart, plastic bags are still given out for free. And they don't look very different to the lightweight bags, which are supposed to be banned.
You from Salamanca Fresh?
I am.
You are? I'm interested, the plastic bags you're giving out, you don't charge for them? Are you allowed to do that under the new laws in Tasmania?
I think so.
Yeah, you think so? And are they...
We're using the right bags for it, yeah.
What kind of bags? Did you have to change the bag, did you?
To a thicker bag, yeah.
Oh, so that's a thicker bag. All right, OK, so as long as it's
So
that...
it'll be reusable, yeah.
OK, so that's as long as it's thicker, you can give them out. OK, thanks very much. Cheers.
No worries.
So in this shop's case, all they've done is taken the lightweight bag and made it a little bit heavier. And it doesn't seem to be much better. They're not charging people if they don't bring a bag anyway, so they're just giving out lots of these slightly heavier, lightweight bags.
While I'm still in Hobart, I want to see how the supermarkets deliver online shopping in this plastic bag banned state. So I get a test delivery to my hotel room.
Coles and Woolies have delivered our online shop. And look, plastic bags, and kind of thicker maybe than in New South Wales and Victoria, but nonetheless still feels like a reasonably lightweight plastic bag. And there's some double bagging in there as well. So the ban down here in Tasmania, it's clearly got some loopholes.
So if only the lightweight bags are banned, does that mean all the other ones in the market are better for the environment? Or are they all bad? Founder of Do Something, John D, is going to help shed some light on the issue.
John, I've got with me a bag of bags, and I really need you to take me through, because there's a lot of confusion about plastic bags.
There is.
There's a bit of a move towards these thicker bags, and some of the supermarkets, particularly Aldi, are selling these and saying, well, these are reusable.
The reality is a lot of these don't get reused. Unfortunately, when these end up in the environment, these are really bad because they're a thicker form of plastic.
OK, what about this one? These are called PLANS57 plastic, and it says 100% degradable shopping bag. What's the reality with these?
There's nothing remotely environmental about this bag. Unfortunately, this is a plastic bag that, as it says, it's degradable, so it breaks down into smaller parts. So, in our opinion, this is actually worse than a conventional plastic bag because a lot of animals, especially smaller animals that wouldn't be affected by the bigger plastic bags, do get affected by this. So, if you see degradable shopping bag, avoid it.
So hang on, the so-called degradable bags are even worse than the conventional grey plastic bags? It's just crazy.
We went to Tasmania and we saw their plastic bag ban there, and it didn't really seem to have banned the bags.
Yeah, look, they're really abusing the regulation that's there. And that's one of the reasons why I think we need to look at having a truly national plastic bag ban. That's the campaign that we launched in 2002. Since we started that campaign, 24 million Australians have used over 86 billion plastic bags.
So in the last 15 years, we've used a whopping 86 billion bags.
That's such a huge number. Let's transfer it to the well-recognised national standard. How many times would it fill the MCG? That'd fill the MCG 7 times!
One of the biggest issues with lightweight shopping bags is that they travel easily from land to sea, where they can become lethal to marine animals.
Hey, Dean.
Hey, Craig, how you going?
Today I'm joining underwater cameraman Dean Kropp for a dive in Sydney Harbour. He's part of the Two Hands project, which organises community clean-up events targeting plastic pollution.
Most of the rubbish that goes in the harbour, like maybe 20% comes from boats and people on the harbour, but 80% comes off the land. People don't make that connection, that if you drop plastic rubbish or anything on the land a couple of streets from the ocean, more than likely it's going to end up in the ocean not long after. Some of that plastic is cleaned up off the beaches by as an environmental services, or we call them harbour garvos, but they don't get what's
down
sunk.
below. Yeah.
We're going diving in Athol Bay, just across the harbour from Sydney CBD, to see what's below.
I look a little overdressed. Probably the time I shouldn't tell Dean this is about my 5th dive. If things go bad, I'll just be some of the rubbish underwater. Let's do it.
I was expecting to find some rubbish down here, but not this much. It's almost like our waste has become part of this underwater world. And tragically, it appears this is a global trend. It's estimated that by 2050, there will be more plastic than fish in our oceans. And that's just frightening.
That is the rubbish from about 15, 20 minutes. And we could have got a lot more if I wasn't so rubbish at scuba diving. But it's just everywhere. And it's either floating or there's a lot of it just stuck underneath the reeds or covered in the sand. You can't initially see it. It's everywhere under there. I saw about 5 fish and I saw a lot more rubbish.
Massive amounts under there, isn't there?
Heaps.
You know, we could be under there for hours and we still wouldn't get it all.
No.
You know, I dive here regularly and I'll clean up as much as I can get in 20 minutes, half an hour, or whatever time I've got underwater. And you come back weeks later and a week later and it's the same again.
It's ridiculous, isn't it? So what do we got there? Plastic bags, plastic containers, chip packets everywhere, cups. Everything's single use, like one use.
Yes.
Cans. The worst thing about this is that it's aluminium. It can be recycled and turned into another can without any problem. And yet, chucked down there, it's useless. That's an old plastic bag?
No, that's a dog poo bag.
Thanks for giving that to me.
That's the scary stuff. Seabirds, they get entangled in it. Turtles are really, really bad for eating plastic bags because they look very similar to their food.
There's heaps of jellyfish here. Like, there's lots of jellyfish that just look like little bits of plastic. You can see why an animal is going to chomp onto a plastic bag thinking it's that.
I'm 11.
Mistaking a plastic bag for a jellyfish is what happened to endangered green turtle Cliff. He's recovering at Taronga Wildlife Hospital in Sydney. But incredibly, half of all turtles and 2/3 of some Australian seabird species already have potentially deadly plastic in their gut. And we're eating it too. Fish mistake microplastics for food, so it enters the food chain and can end up on our plate. Months ago, on my crusade to ban plastic bags, I set my sights on the then New South Wales Premier, Mike Baird. He tried his best to run from the problem.
Mike, wait for me. Come on, have a chat. I've lost my plastic ball. I can't keep running this far. Bloody Mike Baird. Too fast.
I hate it when they run. At least John Howard was slow.
But I got him on the way home, thanks to a very steep hill.
To dodge the plastic ball, all you got to do is bring in a plastic bag ban as well, OK?
Well, look, we're doing a lot in relation to litter reduction.
Yeah.
We're obviously looking at it collectively.
Yeah.
Let's see where that gets to.
But what do you mean collectively? Because just you, Victoria, WA left. We're working collectively. I know, we're working collectively.
There you go.
Shortly after our collective chat, Mike resigned. But I'm not dropping the ball that easily. I'm still determined to change this dreadful situation. We need to ban the bag.
So the New South Wales Premier, Mike Baird, has stepped down. Just after we spoke to him, I don't think it's our fault, but he's gone anyway. So there's a new Premier, Gladys Berejiklian, and we're going to see if she's willing to do a little bit more about the plastic bags in this state. Hopefully she'll do more than just talk collectively, as Mike Baird said. Something they've been doing for years to no effect.
I find out she's doing a media conference.
She's not yet. Plastic bags here. I've got a child. Be careful.
You got a child?
I've got a child.
You got a child. You want to protect that child's future. I just wanted to give you a little reminder. Can you take us on the train?
You guys have been really vigilant.
Yeah.
Good on you.
Did Mike warn you?
No, yeah.
Do you want to take this with you? Why aren't we?
On the train, no.
I'm sure we get it. Why don't we have a plastic bag ban, Liz? Can you look into it for us?
Congratulations on finding me here. How did you know I was here?
Public transport is great.
Well done.
But why are you guys not doing anything?
We're doing a lot in terms of recycling and in terms of...
Why not plastic bags? I mean, it's been done in many other states. South Australia's done it for years, led to 45% reduction.
How did you get it down the stairs?
Carry it.
Anyway, nice to see you. Thanks
So you want to look into it?
We always do. We always do.
You're pushing this way as well as Baird did. We're a consulting.
See you, Mr. Plastic Bags.
Well, Gladys seems even better than the former Premier when it comes to fobbing you off. So why don't you hit her up on this email address if you actually care about the issue?
Post your concerns on her Facebook page. And for Western Australians, you can tell your Premier, Mark McGowan, you want a plastic bag ban in your state too. It's obvious we need legislation that ban plastic bags nationwide. And to close the loopholes that still allow thicker plastic bags in certain states. I want to speak to all the state environment ministers about this. I'm going to try Matthew Groom, the Minister for the Environment in Tasmania. This is Craig Rucastle from the ABC. I was wondering if I'd be able to speak to the Minister. It's not answering. I think he slept in. Mick Gentleman, who is the Minister in charge of the environment in the Australian Capital Territory. Let's hope he is, as his name suggests. Thanks very much. Bye. He's in Parliament.
was wondering if I could speak to the Minister, Lauren Moss. The plastic bag ban? So would it be more accurate to call it a plastic bag thickening process? Should have lied about who I was. Craig Newcastle. Yeah, I'll put it in an email.
I emailed all the ministers for answers, and the Minister for Queensland was willing to meet with me. While the other states are still talking collectively, Queensland is bringing in a much tougher ban next year, which will include degradable and biodegradable bags.
So, Minister, Queensland are going to bring in a ban on plastic bags. What brought you to this position?
In large part, it was because the community called on us to. There was just so many people signing petitions, writing in, saying, we want you to do this.
So the ones you're banning, this is the kind of thing you're banning, this light one here, right? Yeah. OK. So we've been to some of the states that have plastic bag bans, and what we were surprised by is, I've got so many plastic bags here. Yep. This is what is being used in some places and just being handed out. Right. So it's essentially just slightly thicker version of this.
That's certainly not what we want to see. We want to see less bags being issued and less bags ending up in Moreton Bay or on the Great Barrier Reef. So we're going to have a look at closing that loophole.
So we've been trying to get the other states on board by chasing them with a large plastic ball. I'm not sure if that's going to work. What have you been doing to get them working?
Well, we've had summits and task forces and steering groups with bureaucrats.
Wow.
And that's been been similarly effective.
Yeah, well, it sounds worse than me chasing a big plastic ball. Well, good luck. Look, good luck with the ban. We will be watching with great interest.
Yep.
Hopefully you can improve the ban a bit and then the other states can follow Queensland's lead.
We'd love to see a national solution.
Yeah, OK, good. Yeah.
It's great to hear that the Queensland Minister has got the right intentions. And I really hope that he follows through and closes up some of these sneaky loopholes. And I'm not going to let this rest until all the other states are on board too. After the first GPS tracker I dropped into a Woolworths plastic recycling bin ended up in landfill, I gave them the benefit of the doubt. So I did a second drop of GPS trackers into 2 Woolworths locations in Brisbane. The trackers show that they've both gone to the same location, a Visy recycling facility. I hadn't heard of any soft plastic recycling facilities in Queensland, so I've come here to check it out.
I haven't really seen... Is that plastic bags in that? Well, there's certainly a lot of paper recycling going on here. And right here you can see where they sort the plastic bottles into different colours, because that's how they have to be separated. But I can't see any plastic bags, apart from the ones all over the ground. Hey, mate, do you do plastic bag recycling here?
It's basically recycling paper here.
The guy at the gatehouse couldn't help, but he did give me a contact of someone at Visy who he said would know.
I was giving you a number. I was told you might know something about plastic bag recycling. I'm just looking into it and interested in the options. Yeah, plastic bags, yeah. What, Indonesia and China? Yeah, cheers, mate. All right, well, text it to me and we'll see. We'll follow it up. Good on you. Cheers. Bye. So, this is where the plastic bags go, and they get baled up and put on a boat and sent overseas to either Indonesia or China, where, according to him, it gets melted down, turned into pellets and made back into plastic products. So, certainly a lot better than landfill.
But before I leave Visy, the guy I spoke to sends me the number of someone more senior. And they tell a different story.
But you guys, don't you get plastic bags from, like, the big Woolies chains and that kind of thing as well? Is that not the case? You don't know where the Woolworths shopping bags... Good on you, cheers. Thanks, bye. Well, that's confusing. The next guy I spoke to seemed to have no idea about plastic bag recycling and seemed to think they only got stuff from households. Had no idea about dealing with Woolworths, so now I'm even more confused.
So who's telling the truth? Have I been told something I'm not meant to know? To find out what actually happens to the plastic bags, I sent emails to Visy and Woolworths. Meanwhile, the plastic bags that I dropped into the Coles recycling bin only got as far as this industrial estate in Brisbane. I'll keep an eye on this to see where they go next. Because they were dropped into a red cycle bin, they should end up here, a recycling facility based in Victoria called Replas. Wow, I recognise this stuff.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's the beast.
Golly, this is it torn apart, is it?
So that's the equivalent of one bale, so you can imagine how much it fluffs up and goes to landfill.
With over 5 billion plastic bags used every year, Replas is a small solution to a big problem. So how much of this soft plastics from the supermarkets are you getting?
We receive about 6 tonnes a week from supermarkets.
So that's what, about 300 tonnes a year?
300 tonnes a year. There's 300,000 tonnes a year of this sort of stuff that ends up in landfill.
Yeah, wow.
So what's that?
So you're a tiny percentage.
Yeah, tiny little percentage.
It's amazing. So you can recycle. It doesn't have to be just these plastic bags. It can be lots of different stuff.
No, and you'll see that it's predominantly not just the plastic bags, so the plastic bags are a small part of it.
So all this packaging.
The criteria is this sort of plastic that you can scrunch.
Scrunch plastic.
Very technical term.
So
scrunchable plastics.
So where does this now go?
From there, the bales, you'll see we put them through the machinery next door.
Oh, right. The bales of bags and packaging are shredded into small pieces.
You can see your plastic bags and bits of foil and all sorts of stuff in that.
And further densified into little pellets. These are then mixed with thicker recycled plastics and turned into new products. Like these park benches. It's pretty amazing. How long does this last for?
If it's not around in 40+ years, I'd be surprised.
But also outdoor gym equipment.
Clearly haven't done this in a while. Oh.
And even boardwalks. So who buys this stuff?
Most of the chairs go to more commercial applications like parks and gardens, councils, government bodies.
So if there were heaps more people bought their soft plastics into the supermarkets, could you handle more stuff coming in?
We could definitely handle more stuff, and we'd love to handle more stuff and make more products. The issue is the markets for the end product.
For this to really work, businesses and councils have to purchase products like these bollards and chairs, tables and park benches. Then we could recycle more soft plastics and less would end up in landfill. Well, it's actually really good to see stuff that would have gone to landfill and makes up so much of our bin actually being recycled or becoming a product. But it doesn't seem to be the total solution here. I mean, it doesn't mean we shouldn't still use reusable bags and try to cut down on our soft plastics, because as Mark admits, they're doing 1 or 2% of the kind of soft plastics that are out there. And even now, there's not enough people buying those products. If you want to recycle stuff, you've got to buy those products. And in the meantime, we've still got to cut down our soft plastic use. I want to show the residents who are taking part in my waste-free challenge what happens when soft plastics are recycled. Hi guys, I have finally tracked down where your soft plastic recycling is going, and I thought I'd share with you what's happening to it.
If it's not around in 40+ years, I'd be surprised.
Oh, wow. Awesome. That's great.
This is where plastic goes. This is it. All our mixed plastics products you see around parks and gardens.
It makes me so excited to see where these soft plastics are going. I mean, ask me 8 weeks ago and I would never have gotten excited about anything to do with rubbish. I mean, my bin was overflowing and I really, quite honestly, didn't think too much about it.
I hate that we've become such a throwaway society. An estimated 70% of the total waste we send to landfill could be repurposed if we could just make the effort. Maybe we need to bring back the make do and mend attitude of our grandparents. At the Bauer Repair Cafe in Sydney, people can bring along broken items and learn how to fix them. What proportion are you able to fix?
80% of what is brought in, we return it repaired to the people. Yeah.
What's generally wrong with things that, you know, would end up in the landfill, but otherwise?
Usually very small things. That people lost the habit or the knowledge to do the repairs themselves. It's a lot of this knowledge that has lost over the generations. People don't learn or don't show an interest even in doing it anymore, because it's cheaper to buy a new one that you throw away after a couple of months.
And I also find that often you can't even find places that actually repair things anymore.
No.
So it's
it's bloody expensive.
Yeah, it's really expensive. So you guys repair stuff for free, do you?
This is a free service, yes.
Today, I've invited the residents of my waste-free street to a workshop here at the Bower. As part of their challenge to reduce the waste they send to landfill, the residents have all brought along broken items they want to revive. Kelly is having a go at repairing her kid's bubble machine.
Would you like to open the bottle?
Okay, I'll give it a go. It's a bit scary, so...
It's all about learning simple skills that can give items another life.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, okay.
That's a mess, isn't it? I think the first thing we should do is get some batteries into it. These ones are obviously
dead.
Are dead.
Yeah.
And it's possible that that's all it is.
Mel and Carly have brought a coffee machine that stopped working. How long do you have it for? How long did it work?
Years. Yeah, we've had it for a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
You still can't. It's funny
But it's a
how
shame to throw it away.
Yeah. It's funny how nowadays we accept with new products that they'll only work for a few years, which is kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
If an item can't be fixed, it'll be dismantled and recycled. Since the Bower started in 2014, they've saved around 200 tonnes of material from going to landfill. Robert and Gary are hoping to fix a drawer that they've owned for 35 years. You won't get that from IKEA.
The front's off and the handle is falling.
the front's off.
So I'll be interested to see if you can fix the handle.
I'll be interested to see.
Yeah.
How long's it been broken for?
Maybe 12 months.
12 months.
So that's fixed.
Oh.
That's done?
That's good.
Top of the class.
Done.
Look, this is an old.
Christina and her family are hoping to bring a very special tape recorder back to life. So whose is this? It's yours, Christina? How long have you had this?
Well, I've had it for about 10 years now. My uncle passed away. I have great memories of him sitting in his room playing the music on this.
So this obviously has a lot of sentimental value for you.
It does, yeah, it does.
Okay, there's nothing coming out.
I never expected
that's
it
good.
to ever be able to work.
Okay, we might have a bit of a mechanical issue rather than an electronic issue.
Oh, look at that.
Fantastic.
So this is what's not coming out.
Oh, look, there's a fuse missing.
Yes. I think that's going to do it.
It's engaged. Okay, there we go. Does it work? It's working.
From the train.
Bit of Tom Jones.
Wow, that's beautiful.
It really is. It's
that's so...
super cool. That's what I'll be doing all afternoon.
Yeah. What do you think, kids?
It's pretty cool. Yeah, it's really nice because, like, a lot of our family on Mum's side, like, they either live overseas or they've passed away, so it's nice to have something like this that sort of belonged to them and have been passed down.
It's pretty amazing, isn't it? Thanks very much. That's excellent. It's inspiring to see how much the residents enjoyed their day at the Bower.
This place is just awesome. I never knew it existed. It would be great if these things were, you know, everywhere for people to use, just to be able to recycle what they've got and use the products that are here rather than buying new products all the time.
I had a look, a little wander around, and there's actually a lot of good items here as well. So I think before I go to the shops, I'll come back here and check if there's something that I can pick up rather than buying it.
Having the opportunity to bring my reel to reel and bring it back to life has just been amazing, absolutely phenomenal, and I'm thrilled, absolutely thrilled.
Since I visited the Visy recycling facility, I've received various email responses from Visy, but I'm no clearer on what's going on. A couple of weeks ago, I lost the signal from my GPS trackers, but suddenly, one has shown up 8,000 kilometres away in a Chinese port 2 hours south of Beijing. My only hope is that my plastic bags will now be recycled in China. I'd love to be able to confirm this, but when we email Visy to ask for more details about their plastic recycling, they say, unfortunately, the business is not in a position to do so at this time. And then in a follow-up email, they say, Visy doesn't recycle plastic bags.
It's only when we tell them that we know they pick up plastic bags and take them to their facility that they say we should talk to Woolworths. And we did. Woolworths says in stores that don't use the red cycle system, our existing waste management contractors collect a range of plastics for international recycling. But then when I asked Woolies if they actually knew where this went, they said this is in the hands of the waste contractors. So Woolies puts out a bin with a big recycling symbol on it and doesn't seem to know where it actually goes. And Visy, who take it away, won't confirm what happens to it. When it comes to our plastic waste, it's clear that we've hit crisis point.
Plastic's a nightmare.
Both on land, does it break down at all?
No.
And in our oceans.
Plastic bags, plastic.
The current bans on plastic bags turn out to be full of loopholes.
So would it be more accurate to call it a plastic bag thickening process?
While currently only a tiny % of our soft plastic gets recycled. And months since I tried to roll in a national ban, the politicians are still dodging the problem.
G'day, mate. Can I come see the Premier?
No, buddy.
But together, we can change that. Our plastic waste is out of control. And look, the governments have dodged my big plastic ball, but what they can't ignore is you. Contact your government, tell them we need a plastic bag ban or to tighten the loopholes because we really need to fix this problem. Next time...
How long do you think it takes to throw out this many clothes in Australia?
I put the spotlight on the terrifying impact of our addiction to fast fashion.
It takes Australians 10 minutes to throw it out.
And challenge a group of fashionistas...
I only wear things once.
...to go on a fashion diet.
Do you reckon you could go without buying a new thing for a month?
My street finds out how waste-free they can really be.
Thank you for joining us on this war on waste. Marty, let's have a look at your bins. It's made a huge difference.
And I ask Australia to wake up.
Realise your coffee cups aren't recyclable.
To the outrageous waste created by our favourite morning ritual.
50,000 coffee cups in this tram alone, and we throw out 1 billion a year.
No, you can't get on this tram, it's filled with coffee cups.